the lands between. A land steeped in violence, darkness, and mystery. The world we play in Elden Ring is vast, beautiful, terrifying, and ultimately you may find the time you spend here filled with some of the strangest and most peaceful experiences one can hope for in a video game. I'm SadBerserkr, and this is an introduction to the Elden lore, the lands between. At the time of recording this, Elden Ring has not been out terribly long. I'm going to do my best that I can to give you a synopsis of some of the background events and some of the mysterious lore about the places you find during your time in the lands between. Up front, when you start Elden Ring, like most FromSoft games, the world is a mystery. We get a name and not much else. Most of what we get is from NPC interactions, reading in-game items, and just exploring ourselves. Like the Erd Tree itself, a Tarnished's path reaches up to the branches of the heavens and twists down into the roots of the earth. To start understanding the story, as well as the background, perhaps our first question is, who am I in all of this? A Tarnished, considered lowly by the Golden Order, the ruling class in the lands between, scoffed at, ridiculed, maidenless, even by some. You are a Tarnished of no renown. A running theory is that you are either an individual just not blessed by the greater will, not chosen by the Erd Tree, cast out from your land, or someone dead in battle. Either way, you are an outsider, summoned by the glowing grace of the Erd Tree to return, to stand before the Elden Ring. To stand up, fight, suffer, and even die, but to get up once more. As someone now blessed by the Erd Tree, and by extension the greater will itself, a deity in its own right in the land. Though you may fight and die, death will never be able to keep you for long. You are a struggler. To quote Kentaro Miura's magnum opus, Berserk, from which the Soulsborne game franchise has drawn so much inspiration. Struggle, challenge, and rise to struggle again. That's the only sword a struggler can use against death. There are many Tarnished of renown we can interact with in this vast, cold, yet beautiful world. But we must create our own story now. We'll focus on the other Tarnished in future videos. For now, we'll move on, as time is short in the lands between. One thing we can all gather straight from entering the main area of the game after our unfortunate death, or perhaps victory, over the grafted Scion, is that the world we now inhabit seems to revolve around a central fixture, visible from nearly every above-ground area in the game, and that is the Great Erd Tree. The shining fixture lighting the sky up with its glory. The divine light it shines across the land makes it hard to not notice, let alone wonder about the significance of this tree. Depending on your location on the map, the Erd tree still shines, though at times it appears to take on an almost mystifying, incorporeal visage. Whether you're late game or just coming into the world for the first time, something inside lures us to it, like moths to a flame. No pun intended. From what we know of the Erd tree, from its official fandom website is, the Erd tree is an enormous, luminous tree located in the lands between. It derives its power from the Elden Ring, and at least prior to the ring shattering, conferred upon the inhabitants of the lands a golden aura representing its grace. While that seemingly gives us little to no information about the origin of the tree, between that and the quote from the beginning tells us we can start to piece together a concept of what it is that drives the land. And ultimately the meaning behind this grand tree that towers above even the highest point in the lands between. The greater will. The tree is said to house the embodiment of the Elden Ring, the tool or object that literally sets order in the world, held sacred by the Golden Order, the religion that upholds the order itself. Over time with the game, not only do you get to learn more of how much the Erd tree is involved in the day-to-day life of the people here, but you get to see other groups' agendas involving the Erd tree. That's the majesty in this game. That's also the significance of the oversized golden tree. Everyone in the land is aware of it, knows its power. The greater will and the Golden Order will be brought up again in future videos in more detail. But for the sake of this video, we'll just associate the greater will with the greater deity, being a greater deity, in which empowered Marika, and by extension her demigod family, that make up the majority of the major bosses you fight in the game. The Erd tree, with its golden rays, once blessed the people of the land with hope and grace. But with the shattering, the land knew only war, death, and struggle. The Erd tree signifies the end of the road, and we already know the beginning. So that leaves the last topic for today's video. That's where you come in. You are a Tarnished, called by grace from the Erd tree. Your choices are your own. What you do in this journey is in your hands. Ultimately, your time in Elden Ring is open. It is an open world game after all. Will you push fervently towards your destiny as Elden Lord? Or will you explore? Will you stand in the way of your supposed destiny? Make your own decisions. Fight against evil? The part of this game that I find the most interesting is the objectivity of it all. Marika, for instance, the deity that so many people in this land worship, is shown to not necessarily be as benevolent as we're led to believe. War heroes like General Radahn, as powerful and terrifying as he is, shown in a different light. There is no good versus evil in this game. You're not fighting beings that are evil. There are just beings with their own ambitions, their own goals. In the end, it is up to you to decide who you want to be in it all. There are certain things you must accomplish to fulfill your own motive. So go and be it. The decisions that you make in the game, the things that you do along the journey, it's completely up to you. We'll be speaking more about deep lore on this channel in the future, about the characters in this story, their backstories, their motivations, their ambitions. But the choices you make in Elden Ring are yours. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and turn on bell notifications. That way you stay updated when I release future lore videos for Elden Ring or other games.